There's a subtle but powerful reason why many of us feel a restless ache, even during moments meant for calm and joy. We spend our lives chasing happiness through success, relationships, or trying to control every little detail. Yet, when we finally arrive at our goals, something still feels incomplete. The truth isn't that we're missing something external, it's that we're holding on too tightly, carrying burdens that don't belong to us. Ancient Buddhist wisdom teaches us a beautiful paradox: true happiness isn't found in what we collect or control. Instead, it's discovered in what we are willing to let go of. The tighter we grip onto our expectations, our past hurts, and fixed ideas about who we are, the more we block the natural joy that's already within us, waiting to flow freely. Letting go isn't a sign of weakness or surrender. It is a courageous, deliberate act of returning to our authentic selves. As Buddha wisely said, you can only lose what you cling to. In this journey, we'll explore timeless Buddhist lessons that gently reveal why releasing control, the past, and false expectations isn't just a step on the path to happiness, it is the path itself. In today's fast-paced world, many of us believe that if we can just control every aspect of our lives, our work, relationships, plans, and even other people's behaviors, we'll finally feel safe and content. We craft endless to-do lists, detailed plans, and backup plans for our backup plans, hoping to eliminate uncertainty and stress. But here's the harsh truth: this desperate need to control only breeds more anxiety, frustration, and disappointment. Life isn't a puzzle we can solve perfectly. It's more like a flowing river, constantly changing, shifting, and moving forward, no matter how much we try to hold it still or steer it our way. Buddhism teaches that clinging to control is one of the deepest sources of suffering. When we resist reality, we fight the current instead of learning to swim with it. Yet, within surrender lies immense peace. Letting go of control doesn't mean giving up on your dreams or becoming passive. It means releasing the belief that everything must unfold exactly according to your plan to be happy. When you loosen your grip, you start to feel lighter, more trusting of life's unpredictable flow. You become open to surprises, able to respond calmly to challenges, and fully present in the moment, no longer trapped by worries about the future or regrets about the past. True strength lies in accepting uncertainty and choosing peace over perfection. The safest place isn't in controlling the uncontrollable, but in trusting that, no matter what happens, you will be okay. And sometimes, the most beautiful and transformative moments happen when we let life surprise us. Almost everyone carries something from their past, a painful memory, a regret, a betrayal, or a loss, that still lingers beneath the surface. Often, we replay these moments over and over in our minds, hoping that by holding onto them tightly, we can somehow change what happened. But here's the hard truth: no matter how much we dwell on the past, we cannot rewrite it. The pain was real, but when we keep reliving it, we trap ourselves in a cycle of ongoing suffering. Buddhism teaches that our pain doesn't just come from what happened but from how strongly we hold on to it. The past has already passed, but our minds drag it into the present, weighing us down like an invisible burden. Letting go of the past doesn't mean erasing memories or pretending the hurt never happened. It means understanding that the past only has power over you if you keep giving it your attention and energy. Every time you say, "I should have done better," or "I'll never recover," you're allowing the past to define who you are. But the truth is, you are not your wounds, your mistakes, or your history. You are who you choose to become right here, right now. Buddhist wisdom encourages us to practice radical acceptance, not resignation, but an honest acknowledgement of what happened. Accept the pain, accept that it shaped you, but also accept that you no longer need to carry it like a heavy chain. Think of the lotus flower, growing pure and beautiful from the muddiest waters. Your growth often comes from the places where you felt broken. Letting go of the past means you stop identifying yourself by your scars. Instead, you honor your journey and gently put down the weight you've carried for too long. This creates space for new beginnings, fresh joys, and a lighter, more peaceful heart. One of the quietest but most painful ways we suffer is through our expectations. We carry an invisible checklist in our minds about how life should be, how people should treat us, how fast success should come, how smoothly our days should go. When reality doesn't match these invisible hopes, we feel disappointment, frustration, and sometimes heartbreak. But here's a powerful truth: the world doesn't owe you your ideal version of itself. People won't always say what you want to hear, situations won't always go your way, and life rarely unfolds exactly as planned. Buddhism teaches that rigid expectations are often the root of our suffering. When what actually happens doesn't match what we hoped for, we resist. We ask, why isn't this going the way I want? But peace doesn't live in the space between expectation and reality. Peace lives in embracing the moment, even when it's different from what you imagined. Consider how much stress you feel not from what's happening, but from believing it shouldn't be happening. For example, when someone is rude, it's not the rudeness itself but your expectation of kindness that causes pain. When a goal takes longer to achieve, it's not just the delay that frustrates you, but your expectation of quick results. The tighter we cling to our ideas of how life must be, the harder it becomes to accept reality. Letting go of expectations doesn't mean giving up hope or lowering your standards. It means replacing "why isn't this happening" with "what is life trying to teach me right now?" It means trading control for curiosity and disappointment for acceptance. When you release expectations, something beautiful happens. You start appreciating what is rather than mourning what isn't. You become open to surprises and growth, allowing life to shape you instead of trying to shape life. This openness brings peace, not because everything is perfect, but because you stop wasting energy wishing it were. Let go of shoulds and rigid ideas about how life must go. Life will never follow your script perfectly, but it is still filled with meaning, wonder, and quiet beauty if you're willing to see it as it is. We enter this world with open hands, but as we grow, we begin to close our grip tightly around the things we believe will make us happy. We cling to people, possessions, titles, outcomes, even emotions, saying, "This is mine. This must stay. This can never change." But the deeper wisdom of Buddhism reveals a simple truth: everything in life is impermanent. Nothing lasts forever, not your youth, your job, your loved ones, your successes, or even your pain. Everything you see, touch, or hold in your heart is always changing. When we fail to accept this truth, we suffer. We become afraid of losing what we have. We break when what we cherish inevitably slips away. The problem isn't change itself, it's our attachment to things staying the same. Attachment whispers, "I need this to feel whole," creating a false belief that our happiness depends on clinging to certain people or things. But holding on tightly is like trying to trap water in your hands. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips away. Buddhism doesn't ask us to stop loving or caring. It doesn't tell us to reject joy or beauty. Instead, it invites us to love freely, without chains, without possession. It teaches us to hold things gently, knowing they are not ours to keep forever, but ours to experience fully in this moment. True peace isn't about locking life into place, it comes from flowing with the natural rhythm of gain and loss, coming and going. Imagine sitting by a river, watching leaves float past. Each leaf represents a moment, a person, a feeling. When we cling, we try to grab and hold the leaf, but the river keeps flowing. When we refuse to let go, we get dragged by the current and suffer. But when we open our hands and watch the leaves pass with gratitude instead of fear, we align with the truth of impermanence. We accept that nothing stays forever, and in that acceptance, we become free. Letting go of attachment doesn't mean you stop loving those in your life. It means you stop trying to possess them. It means you don't build your identity around things that can be taken away. You learn to love deeply without trying to trap the moment. You learn to care without fear. You learn to appreciate without clinging. And this kind of love, open, aware, present, is far more beautiful than the kind born from fear of loss. Letting go of attachment doesn't diminish joy, it multiplies it. You become lighter, more grateful, more alive to each passing moment. You stop needing things to be permanent to be meaningful. You stop fearing change and start welcoming it as part of life's flow. You begin to understand that happiness is never about owning, but about experiencing fully without grasping. So take a deep breath and loosen your grip. Life is always moving, always shifting. Let it. When you stop clinging, you stop suffering. And in that space of freedom, peace gently arrives, not because everything stayed the same, but because you finally stopped needing it to. Inside your mind, there's a voice you hear every day, even when no one else is around. This voice comments on everything you do, judges your actions, and tells you how worthy or unworthy you are. It often speaks loudest when you're vulnerable, uncertain, or feeling down. It might say things like, "You always mess up, you're not good enough, or you don't deserve happiness. Because this voice is your own, you tend to believe it must be true. But here's a gentle, profound truth from Buddhist wisdom: you are not your thoughts. That critical voice is not your true self, it's just a stream of mental patterns formed by past experiences, fears, and limiting beliefs. The mind is like a storyteller that never stops narrating. It pulls from memories, society's messages, and old wounds to create stories, some helpful, many harmful. It's often trying to protect you, keeping you small, safe, and hidden by confusing harsh criticism for discipline. But constant self-judgment doesn't lead to growth, it leads to shame. And shame is like a dense fog that dims your inner light, making you forget your true strength, beauty, and capability. When you begin to observe your thoughts without automatically believing them, you create a sacred inner space. You start noticing recurring patterns, the same fears and doubts playing over and over like a scratched record. You see how contradictory these thoughts are, one moment telling you you're not enough, the next you should be doing more. This awareness breaks their power. Buddhism teaches mindfulness not just to calm your mind, but to see it clearly. When you become the observer of your thoughts instead of their victim, you reclaim your inner freedom. You realize there's a difference between a thought and the one who notices the thought. That silent observer within you, the quiet awareness, is your true self. It is peaceful, wise, and compassionate. It doesn't judge, it simply sees. Letting go of your inner critic doesn't mean ignoring your flaws or refusing to grow. It means replacing harsh judgment with understanding. It means treating yourself with the same kindness and patience you would offer a dear friend. When you make a mistake, it's not proof you're broken, it's an opportunity to learn. When you feel lost, it's a call to reconnect. Not a reason to condemn yourself. Being hard on yourself doesn't make you stronger. Real transformation comes through self-compassion. When you feel safe within your own heart, you become more open to growth. When you treat yourself with love, you naturally want to care for your mind, body, and choices, not out of guilt, but out of respect for who you are. Letting go of the inner critic is not a one-time fix. It's a daily practice. When the harsh voice returns, you notice it. You breathe. You question its truth. You respond with softness. Over time, the critical voice quiets. And in its place, a new voice grows, one rooted in truth, not fear. It says things like, "You're learning. You're trying. You are enough. Be gentle with yourself. You've carried so much for so long. You've survived battles no one sees. You've walked through dark seasons and still shown up for life. You deserve a mind that treats you like a friend, not a battlefield." The moment you stop believing every critical thought is the moment you step into your true power, not by fixing yourself, but by remembering you were never broken. As human beings, from our earliest moments, we crave to be seen, heard, and understood. We naturally look to others, our parents, teachers, friends, even strangers, for approval and acceptance. This desire to belong is part of being human. But over time, relying too much on external validation can quietly steal your peace. When you base your worth on others' opinions, you give away your power. You begin living to please, fearing judgment, and constantly seeking approval. Buddhist teachings remind us that true self-worth can never come from outside sources. It arises from within, rooted in an unshakable acceptance of who you are, independent of what anyone else thinks. The moment you stop needing everyone to understand or approve of your journey, you reclaim your freedom. It's okay if others don't see your struggles or successes exactly as you do. You don't have to explain yourself or earn anyone's permission to live authentically. Letting go of the need for validation means embracing yourself fully, flaws and all, without chasing endless reassurance. It means trusting your own inner voice above the noise of the world. This doesn't mean you become indifferent or isolated. It means you find peace in your own company and confidence in your own path. You begin to act not out of fear of rejection, but from genuine desire and integrity. When you stop seeking validation, you become more present, more authentic, and more alive. You start living for yourself, not for an invisible audience. And in that freedom, happiness blossoms naturally. One of the quietest sources of suffering comes from resisting reality. We often spend so much energy fighting against what is, whether it's circumstances, emotions, or other people, that we lose sight of peace right in front of us. Buddhism teaches that resistance is like swimming upstream against a strong current. The harder you struggle, the more exhausted you become. But when you learn to accept things as they are, not as you wish they would be, you stop draining your energy in useless battles. Acceptance doesn't mean you approve of everything or give up trying to improve your life. It means recognizing reality clearly and responding wisely instead of reacting with frustration or denial. When you stop resisting, you open space for clarity, creativity, and calm. You become flexible and resilient, able to adapt rather than break under pressure. You start to see that some things are beyond your control, and that's okay. Peace arises when you flow with life's natural rhythms instead of constantly trying to bend them to your will. So practice welcoming whatever comes with an open heart. Notice when you're resisting and gently remind yourself, this is happening. What can I learn? How can I respond with kindness? The path to freedom is not through forcing change but through embracing what is and letting life unfold. Fear is one of the most powerful forces that keeps us stuck. It whispers that if we step outside our comfort zone, something terrible will happen. It convinces us to stay small, hide our true selves, and avoid taking risks. But Buddhism teaches that fear is often a story we tell ourselves about what might go wrong, an imagined future built on uncertainty and doubt. The truth is, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's choosing to move forward despite it. When you let go of fear, you don't become reckless or careless, you become brave. You learn to face discomfort, vulnerability, and the unknown with openness. This doesn't mean fear disappears overnight. It means you acknowledge it without letting it control your actions. You remind yourself that life's greatest growth often happens just beyond your fears. By releasing the grip of fear, you reclaim your personal power. You start living with boldness and authenticity. You discover that even if the worst happens, you have the strength to handle it. Courage opens doors to new experiences, relationships, and possibilities that fear keeps locked tight. So breathe deeply, trust your resilience, and take that next step. Your life is waiting on the other side of fear. In the end, the journey of letting go isn't about losing something, it's about gaining everything. When you release control, the past, expectations, attachment, your inner critic, and fear, you create space for true peace and joy to enter your life. You begin to live fully in the present moment, free from the chains that once held you back. Remember, happiness is not a distant destination but the natural state that arises when you stop clinging and start embracing life as it is. Like the Buddha taught, letting go is not giving up, it is the path to awakening, to freedom, and to deep, lasting happiness. So, take a deep breath. Trust in your own resilience. And step into the beautiful freedom that comes when you finally let go. Your journey is just beginning. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. Keep walking the path with courage, compassion, and an open heart.